Good morning. And for the record, I am not homeless. I'm truly honored to be recognized and elected by the NAMIC membership, and I look forward to my year ahead as chairman of this great association. It will afford me the opportunity to visit with so many of you during your state association meetings and conventions, while promoting the effectiveness of and opportunities within NAMIC. You, the NAMIC members, are an amazing group, and the reason why the association continues to grow and flourish. Before I share a little more about myself and how I came into the mutual industry, let's get this out of the way before the NAMIC staff throws an image of it up all on their own. Yes, you have elected a guy who parades around his hometown once a year in 5-inch red high heels for charity. You should be proud that this 120-year-old association has become so progressive. And if you'd like to learn more about why I do it, see me during the break. And while you're at it, bring your checkbook. Like so many of you, I came into this industry and the mutual family by complete chance. My journey began 31 years ago when I walked off the high school graduation stage and discovered a job listing for a company I'd never even heard of, even though I'd lived in Harford County all my life. Certainly, there was nothing in my background that would suggest that I'd be qualified for an office position, let alone one that would be programming a newfangled contraption known as an IBM PC. For most of my young life, I was raised and worked on a small dairy farm, along with my parents and 3 siblings. I was number 3 of 4 boys, and because my younger brother was too young to work, I became the proverbial low man on the totem pole. What that meant is I was charged with herding, washing, treating, feeding the cows, and ended each morning drawing a gallon of fresh milk from the tank before we headed home. It also meant that I had the joy of feeding the calves. And while most of you will think that those precious little souls are innocent and adorable, any of the farmers out there that have had the pleasure noted that to be far from the truth. I will forever have the smell of powdered milk in my memory. When my family exited the dairy farm life when I was 14, I began working for a large local dairy and field farm and quickly jumped to the field operations. Like most farmers who consider motor vehicle regulations to be mere suggestions, by the time I was 15, I was driving a 5-speed Mack tractor trailer overloaded with grain down Interstate 95 to the granaries of Baltimore. It was hard work, but it felt pretty cool as a teenager to be combining by day and hauling by night. At the same time, my parents turned much of our farm into a pick-your-own strawberry operation, aptly named Backache Acres. When I wasn't helping to transplant or pluck the blossoms off the first-year plants, I worked on an Apple II personal computer to maintain the farm's customer mailing list. This is where I learned I had a passion and a knack for computers, and I sought to explore it further during my high school years. At the end of my senior year, Harford Mutual was looking for someone to program and maintain rating discs utilized by independent agents to quote risks in the field. Back then, those discs were actually floppy and mailed through the actual post office. If an agent was lucky, our field representative, also no longer, would lug a 30-pound suitcase-sized personal computer into their office, boot it up, and walk them through the process. And for any millennials out there, that was really high-tech stuff. At 17, I was offered the position, and while I took a $2,000 pay cut, I was hopeful that this $10,000 a year job would lead to something much bigger. Looking back, it appears to have been a good move. So after heading off to JCPenney to purchase some business attire, spending some time learning to tie a tie, I began my insurance career. I learned insurance rating and underwriting by day and pursued my college degree at night. Because of the small size and family culture at Harford Mutual, I had the great opportunity to learn from so many, including our then president, Thomas Burke. Tom took the time to help me understand the company. He explained the principles of mutuality and why they were so important to the history and future of Harford Mutual. The familial nature of the company and mutuality itself was extremely appealing to me and laid the foundation for the values I continue to champion today. And I know what many of you are thinking right now. You just knew that at some point in this journey, through the manure-covered pastures of my youth, that this story would turn into a romance. And you would be right. 4 years later, microcomputers were everywhere around the building. There was this one young lady in rating who was especially effective in causing her computer to crash on a rather frequent basis. Right, hon? Of course, this naive farm boy turned geek thought she was also especially annoying and had no idea what she was doing. When she tracked me down one day to ask me to go to lunch, the light bulb went off. 26 years later, she continues to be the love of my life, my best friend, and partner in everything I do. I am a lucky guy and truly blessed to have her here with me today as we take another step in this fantastic journey. 10 years ago, the Harford Mutual Board of Directors sought a new leader to take the company, one that's formed 20 years before the Civil War, in a new direction. While the extensive operational and financial experience I had acquired during my prior 20 years made me uniquely qualified to lead, at 39, I was still the new kid on the leadership block. Just as each step in my career and personal life had flourished because I made the most of every opportunity afforded me, my introduction to NAMIC was no different. While Harford had been a longtime member of the association, our involvement was minimal at best. Even before I had been selected to become our company's 11th president, our chairman encouraged me to attend the 111th NAMIC Annual Convention in 2006 in Tampa, Florida. The following year, I attended my first NAMIC CEO Roundtable event in Palm Springs. Frankly, I was quite apprehensive joining an event where I'd be grouped with extremely accomplished and experienced leaders. I had assumed that I would be met with odd stares and questioned of, who is this kid? Instead, I was welcomed with open arms, introduced to others that were dealing with the exact same issues as myself. And amazingly, they were all comfortable helping each other learn and improve their companies, even when some were direct competitors. It was that event, that opportunity, that demonstrated the power the association and members could offer me, our staff, and the company itself. I quickly became a huge advocate and decided to get involved in every possible way. As with every experience in life, it is what you put into it, your commitment, that dictates the value and reward you receive from it. The opportunities I presented and the inclusion I felt have motivated me to pay it forward, to help cultivate the future leaders of mutual insurance and make them feel as welcome into this great industry as I did when I began my own journey. Ours is a great but aging industry, and I understand that my company and so many other NAMIC members will soon retire our much long-tenured talent. This is why we at Harford Mutual have taken steps to identify budding leaders within our crop of younger employees in order to help them develop the potential we see in them. It's also why we have put forth concerted effort to work with local colleges and universities to bring in interns who can learn about the many career opportunities insurance provides and can eventually take the reins. I know many of you are working on the same kinds of initiatives within your own organization. And to that, I say keep up the good work. For those of you who haven't quite gotten into that game yet, I challenge you to give it a shot. The future of our industry depends on new talent entering it. Over the past 10 years, Sandy and I have been privileged to get to know and become friends with so many wonderful people here. It is incredible that our involvement has allowed us to witness phenomenal examples of leadership, experience, courage and commitment, dedication, support. I'll let them catch up. Wisdom, and even beauty. There she is. I want to thank the members of my board and team that are both here in attendance and back home serving our policyholders. It is their tremendous talent, commitment, and support that affords me the ability to serve this great association. Sandy and I look forward to taking advantage of the opportunity to travel and get to know you and your state associations even better over the year ahead. It is both a privilege and an honor to represent each one of you, and I thank you for your confidence and support.